What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm coming to you tonight with a review for Love and Hip Hop Miami. This is season number 2, episode 4, titled Nada Nada Empanada. So, without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the video. All right, y'all. So this was actually a really good episode. This was much better than what we got this week with New York, which was very heavy, and then we had the bullshit with Sydney Star at the end of it. But this episode of Miami was pretty good. So I think I'm gonna start up with Tip and Jbsayzwhat. So we see Tip. She's with her mom and her son. Now, when I saw Tip's son, because we remember, was it earlier this season or was it last season? No, it was last season, or it could have been this season. Whenever Tip was talking about her son and how she didn't want her son to, she was trying to get out the strip club before her son got old enough to know what she was doing. And when we looked at her son, I'm like, well, bitch, I thought you, when she was talking about her son, I think about a little nigga that's probably like 5 or 6 years old, like my little cousin. But this little nigga look like he every bit of, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. So, unfortunately, Tip, your son should know a little thing or two about you stripping, but I get where she came from. So like I said, it's Tip, her son, and her mom, and Jbsayzwhat. So they out doing I Fly, which I so want to do that. It's one here in Dallas. I think it's an I Fly here in Dallas. Like, I want to do that shit so badly. It looks really fun. Although I'm afraid of heights, I'm always up for trying new things. So I definitely want to try that. So then we see Tip and Jbsayzwhat. They sit down, and Jbsayzwhat was telling her how she's working with these producers. I think she said Big D and somebody else. I can't remember their name. I didn't write it down. And she's talking about hey, before I even talk about any more with Jbsayzwhat, when she's talking, like, if you listen to her in her interview confessional, which one, interview, green screen confessional, whatever one you want to call it, do y'all ever notice that when she's talking, she has that accent 1 minute, and then the next minute she just completely turns that accent the fuck off? Like, that is weird. It's much like Safari when he comes up with that accent. But you know what? Safari stopped talking to that accent, and I hope Jbsayzwhat stops as well. So basically, Jbsayzwhat was just crying about her issues in the industry. She didn't really go too deep into what the issues were, but Tip is like, I know Big D and the other guy, or whatever his name was, she know them, they good dudes, and they're not gonna do her wrong. So then later in the episode, we see Jbsayzwhat. She's in the studio, she's singing a song. The song didn't sound bad at all. It sounded better than what she sang when she, was doing His Eyes on the Sparrow. But I'm also thinking to myself, maybe that song is just a little heavily auto-tuned. I don't know. But, she's singing a song. So she comes out the booth, and, she's asking them, like, so when you guys gonna send me the record? And they like, send you the record? Like, no, we're not gonna do that. And then they further explain to Jbsayzwhat why they won't send her the record. And basically, it comes down to a whole money thing. They want to be able to get paid for the work that they're doing, which I absolutely understand it, and I agree with it. Like, you don't want to just sit here and create a beat for somebody, and they take your music, and much like with Candy and Kim from Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Kim did Don't Be Tardy for the Party, how Kim went off, made all that money on Tardy for the Party, but didn't want to give Candy even half of what Candy really deserved for taking Kim's fucked up ass vocals and making them vocals sound somewhat decent. So I definitely get where they're coming from with that situation. Like, you don't want nobody to, you don't want to do anything for someone, and then they take all the credit for your work, and you get nothing on the back end. Like, you get screwed over again, like Candy with Tardy for the Party. You just don't want to do that. So like I said, I understood that. And Jesse was like, well, if it's a money issue, like, I can pay you guys. And the one guy, the one that she knows, he was like, no, not even, we can't do that. But then Big D, I think that's his name, I don't know. He's like, okay, well, if you got 35,000, we can make this work. And just like, I don't have no damn 35,000. Well, if you don't have $35,000, then it's no deal. So then, the one dude, he stepped away while she and her friend talked. And, he was telling her, like, we've had this happen to us before where we've done a song with someone. They took the song, they took it to a label and got a deal. And then on the back end, we got cut out as if we didn't do anything for for them. And I definitely 100% get where they're coming from. And then, Jessie starts to break down, talking about, she's had assholes and, just all the hardships that she's dealt with in the industry. I did feel bad for Jessie, but at the same time, like I said, I get where they're coming from. As producers, that's their bread and butter. Like, you can't sit here and ask them, yo. And I get that she said she's not going to do anything with the song. She just wanted it. But at the same time, they sat there, they mixed it, they mastered it, they did everything with that song. That beat, put it that way. That beat, you just came in here and put some vocals on it. Like, if they were working for a label, the label would pay them. They know for a fact they would get their money, they would get their credit, they would get all, the accolades. Shout out to Nene. They would just get everything that's coming, they're deserving of. So I definitely understood it. I don't get why Jessie didn't understand it as much, but whatever. Alright, so next we got Pleasure P. He is meeting up with Chaotic and Stuart Little. Sorry y'all, I'm eating a pecan. So if y'all see me chewing or trying to get stuff out of my teeth, it's a pecan. Don't mind it. So like I said, Pleasure P, he met up with Chaotic and Stuart Little. So, he's talking about how he's working on his solo career. I'm like, yo, solo career? I didn't know we was checking for it. But okay. And he's talking about how Pretty Ricky's doing an album. Again, I didn't know we was checking for it. Anybody out there checking for a Pretty Ricky album or a Pleasure P album? Speak up. Anybody? Anybody? Yeah. Nobody's checking for that. But we are checking for the tour, however. Speaking of which, I need to get my tickets for the tour here in Dallas. They will be here on April 19th, I think. Ooh, April 19th. So yeah. I'm trying to go to that tour. I really am. Like, I'm not really more so 100% looking for Pretty Ricky, B2K, Chingy, Mario, or Bobby Valentino. I'm more so here for the motherfucking Yin Yang Twins. But back to the show. Yeah, so they sitting down there talking. He's telling them how he's putting out his EP. Again, I'm like, nobody's checking for that EP. So, then Chaotic tries to tell him, hey man, maybe, the fans, think about the fans. Maybe the fans want Pretty Ricky to get back together. I guess you can kind of say that. The fans want them to get back together. Yeah, I guess you can say that, in a sense. So then, Pleasure P, he sits there and he asks, Stuart Little, how are things between him and Amara La Negra at this point. And Stuart Little tells him, that I guess they okay, iffy, wishy-washy, pretty much. But he did say he fucked up, at the reunion last year when he was talking about how she was in his room on his bed and whatever. And Chaotic asked the question, did you and her have sex? He says no, we just had a vibe. But like I said, he agrees that what he said at the reunion wasn't good at all. He just felt like he was getting grilled and ganged up on. So that's why he said that. I'm like, oh, okay. So then he's talking about this song that he has that went platinum, I guess. Again, when it comes, okay, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When it comes to Stuart Little and Helga Pataki, I don't listen to either one of them. I tune both of them out, especially after all the shit that happened last year with them and Amara. Like, I tuned him and Helga out completely. So I don't 100% listen to them, but I do know he said that he's having a party that his label is having for him, and he wants to invite Amara to the party. So I guess, Pleasure P and Chaotic are gonna come. So then we do see this part that he had, and he's telling us that he's been in the business for 10 years, and he introduced trap, Latin trap or whatever he called it. One listening. Sorry to tell you guys, I just really want listening. So going forward, keep that in mind. When it comes to Stuart Little and Helga Pataki, I don't listen to them. I tune them out. Like I'm gonna do the best I can, to talk about them. But when they talking, it's gonna be like on Charlie Brown, when the teacher be talking, wah 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 wah. That's all I'm gonna pretty much hear, because I'm not here for either one of them. Stuart Little, I can kinda get with him because he did apologize to Amara last season. But when he went on them interviews last season, when he was talking about the Nutella Queen and whatnot, and I'm just like, you take 2 steps forward, but you take 4 steps backwards. Like, what the fuck? So at this party, I think Amara walked up to Pleasure P and she said, "You're gonna introduce me to your friend." So he introduced her to Chaotic. Chaotic looking her up and down like she's some kind of entree, a fruit platter. But he was complimenting her, and he talking about he want to take her out. She's like, "Oh, you gonna take me and my mama out?" I would have said, "No, not taking you and your mama out. I'll take you out." He said, "Yeah, I'll take y'all. She just got that 2 for $20. I said, "No, this nigga did not. The 2 for $20. That mean your ass is dead ass broke if you're gonna do the 2 for $20. 2 for $20. So then Young Hollywood, aka Stuart Little, comes up to Amara. And Amara is like, what, can we go to the side and have a conversation? So then, they have a conversation. And basically, Amara was like, I thought, after everything last year that we kind of, made up with one another. But then they get to the reunion and he did what he did. And he apologized for that. And basically, he and Amara, they are good and they're going to move forward. Let's see how this works. All right, so next we got Trina. So Trina is at the radio station. She's doing an interview with Super Cindy and DJ Entice, and she has Bobby there with her. She wants Bobby there to see what she does, how she does it, and the ins and out of her business, basically. So Bobby comes in, they sit down, they're having a conversation, and Trina's just telling Bobby what's going on with her right now. The TNT album is done, and she's gonna talk about that, her album, her businesses. And speaking of her businesses, she has a sunglass line that she's doing, and how she was supposed to, Alvin, her assistant, was supposed to be there. I just spit. Her assistant was supposed to be there to, bring some sunglasses there for Super Cindy, but he's not there. And, she's telling Bobby how, Alvin is doing interviews, and, Bobby's just like, what, when it comes down to Alvin don't know his fucking place. And if I was you, I would basically fire Alvin, which I get where she's coming from, and I get where Bobby's coming from, but I don't know if you can't expect somebody to want to be your assistant for the rest of their life. Like, people have dreams, goals, and aspirations. So I don't necessarily 100% agree with him just doing interviews. And I tend to Trina, what he could do is, be like, "Hey, Trina, I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to get my businesses off the ground, but I'm still going to be here for you. Just know that I'm also working on other stuff at the same time." So I definitely, I get both sides. What she's saying, what Bobby's saying, and probably what Alvin is thinking, but not actually saying. So then, Bobby asks Trina, well, what's going on between Rockstar Music Group? And she tells Bobby basically she doesn't know what to do with him. And I agree. I feel where Bobby's coming from. It's like, you don't know what to do with me. Like, what does that mean? Like, put me on your label. Let's make this music. Let's get this bread, as Stevie J said. So I get Bobby. That's his career that she's talking about. But at the same time, I think I kind of understand where Trina's coming from. It's like, I don't know if what Trina means, if she doesn't know how to market him or what, or, I really don't understand what she meant by that. But, when she said she don't know what to do with him, she could have said, I don't know what to do with you, as in, placement, marketing, promotion, whatever. But just to say that you don't know what to do with him, like, it's kind of hard to hear. And, you know, he says, well, you know what, maybe we should do a song together. And, you know, she basically says she don't really know. She's not, you know, at this point, she's holding off on doing a record with him. And I'm like, I think, I don't really know what it is with Trina and Bobby. Because Bobby is mad talented as an artist. And Trina is talented as well. I think they will make some good music, but you know, I think Trina wants to see a little bit more of a progression with Bobby. I don't know, because we saw how Bobby turned up last season. So I guess she's, you know, a little apprehensive maybe about his person, you know, what he'll do and what he won't do. So I guess that could be it. All right, next we see Trina. She has her business partner there, and she had another person there. I forgot what she was to her. So they are having a business meeting, and oh my God, that wig that was on Trina's head. That wig looked like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. It shone. It glistened like, you know, a pink fucking highlighter. I'm like, man, if you don't take that wig off, throw that bitch in the harbor, the ocean, the sea, wherever the fuck you gotta throw it. Throw that bitch away, and don't ever let it see the light of day again. So, you know, they sitting down and they're talking, and, you know, her business partner tells her that Alvin has, you know, been reaching out to her for help with his clothing line. And I'm like, oh, his clothing line. I wouldn't, no offense though, the way Alvin dresses, I wouldn't buy a burlap sack from that nigga. Even if it costs 50 cents, I wouldn't buy that motherfucker. I'm like, nigga, you can't even dress. What you think I'm gonna buy clothes from you for if you can't dress? Fuck out of here. So then she also tells Trina that, you know, Alvin said that he is her creative director. And I'm like, oh, Alvin done gave himself a motherfucking promotion that Trina is not aware of, because she wasn't aware of your clothing line, nor was she aware that you were her creative director, which Trina flips out. So then we see this scene where Trina's in the studio. She's working on her music, so she's called all of her team there. So the one girl that was at the, you know, with her and her business partner, she's there. Alvin's there, and Julian is there, her manager. So, you know, she's telling Alvin how she never really sees Alvin. Alvin doing his own damn thing. And I don't think that would be a problem for Trina if Alvin effectively communicated with her what he was doing. And then with Julian, she feels like Julian's head is all straight up Amada's ass. And, you know, she's talking about how, you know, the fans, the label. And I'm like, Trina, what label? Love you to death, but what label you got that's asking for music from you for the last 3 years? Again, love you, but okay. Which has her album came out yet? Because I know I go on her Twitter and she's still, I don't know if that album came out or not, but we're gonna move on from that. So then, you know, she's talking to Alvin about what he does. And it's like, so you telling people that you my creative director? He said, yes, I am your creative director. She said, oh, Julian, so he working with you? And Julian's like, no. So then she's like, you know, you going to my business partner, you pitching business deals to her. You're not going to get no business deal dealing with her, coming through me the right way. So then she started screaming and fussing and yelling at Alvin. And she was talking so fast that I didn't even know what the fuck Trina was saying. I'm like, okay, I don't know what she's saying. Because she was going a mile a motherfucking minute. But what I did catch her say was, you fired. And that was all I needed to hear. Was like, whoops, there you go. Bye, Alvin. All right, y'all. So this is going to be like the most draining part of the episode, which is why I kind of saved it for last. You had Amada, JoJo, and Shay, Francine, Frinsky, Bucky, Johnson. So the episode, it started with Shay, Francine, Frinsky, Bucky, Johnson, and Amada. So they were out on the beach, and you know they chopping it up. You know, we found out that they met each other in Atlanta when Amada was on a video shoot, and ever since then they've been cool with one another. So then, you know, Shay, Francine, Frinsky, Bucky, Johnson, she asked Amada about the whole situation with Bobby. So what it is Amada says she blocked Bobby because of, you know, he's messy. And then, you know, Bobby went, which I did. I remember seeing all this on the Love and Hip Hop T page. I remember when Amada blocked him, but because which I don't understand why people are so obsessed on, you know, like the Shade Room, Love and Hip Hop T, all the people like, and I'm not knocking them or anything like that, but I don't get why it's so important for people to go through people's friends list on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and be like, oh, you know, Amara, she unfollowed Bobby. Oh, Bobby unfollowed Amada. Or like with Candy and Portia from Love and Hip Hop, not Love and Hip Hop, but Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, Candy unfollowed Portia. Oh, Portia unfollowed Candy. Oh, Candy followed Portia. Oh, Portia followed Candy. Like, I don't get why that shit is so important. It's not like you get paid by the amount of followers you have. Like, that shit is ridiculous and redundant and stupid as fuck to me. So, you know, like I said, Amada, she blocked Bobby. Bobby made this long excerpt with it. Like I said, I did see it. I didn't read it, but I saw it. And this was actually at the beginning of them filming this season. It might have been at the beginning of them filming this season, or maybe a few weeks before they started filming this season, that stuff happened. Because Bobby went on a rant talking about how Amara's music wasn't good. And, you know, then he gave that apology. But Amara said she didn't believe the apology. And then, you know, she's telling, you know, Shay, Francine, Frensky, Bucky Johnson, about the beef with her and, you know, Jessie Woo, how, you know, Jessie said she was trying to get with her man and JoJo facilitated for them to meet up. And then out of nowhere, JoJo and Jessie got into it and JoJo threw the drink at Jessie's face. And then, you know, Jessie picked up that big bottle of alcohol and threw it toward Amada. I was on, you know, Francine's side. Like, I would have, you know, like, nah, bitch, you ain't finna throw no drink at, you ain't finna throw no bottle at me. Like, you throw a bottle at me, I'm coming at your ass. I'm probably gonna break that motherfucking bottle and go upside your motherfucking head with it. So, then Francine wants to bring up the fact that, you know, when it comes to Bobby, I'm gonna go back to Bobby just for a minute. So, when they were talking about Bobby, Shay, Francine, Frensky, Bucky Johnson, she was telling Amada that, you know, Bobby had told her that JoJo was talking, you know, some shit about Amada. And Amada was like, you know what, I'm not going to believe it myself until I actually hear it from JoJo. And I respect that. Like, don't let somebody be like, you know, what your friend talking about you, and then you get mad at your friend, and it turned out they ain't said nothing about you. The only reason why they said something, the other person said something, was because, you know, I'm mad at this bitch. I want you to be mad at the bitch right along with me. Basically, being messy. So I respected Amara for that one. So then while we're talking about JoJo, you know, Francine is talking about how JoJo is, you know, with Pleasure P. And, you know, she feels like that's breaking the girl code because after last season, JoJo, Amada, and Francine were cool with one another. So she just feels like basically that's breaking girl code, her being with her ex. So then, you know, Amada's like, well, you know what? I think that you and JoJo should sit together and have a conversation with one another. And Francine is like, you know what? I'm cool with that. As long as you're there to facilitate it, I'll do it. So then she's like, okay, cool. You know, I'm having this thing with my mom. I want you to come and I'm going to invite JoJo out. All right. So we had this thing with Francine. She was hanging out with both Bobby and Tip. So, you know, she's telling Bobby and Tip that she met up with Trina. The conversation with Trina went really well. So they then ended up meeting up with Joy. And, you know, Joy was all rah-rah at one point. But then Trina got in that ass. And Joy eventually came to reason and said, you know what? I should have minded my motherfucking business and we good. So then Bobby, you know, he's talking about his business dealings with Trina. How, you know, she doesn't know what to do with him. But at the same time, he has this record, he has his independent record label that's up and coming that is very much interested in doing business with him, and how he's considering, you know, signing with this label as opposed to signing with Trina. Now, we all know Tip, she loves Trina. So she's going to always, you know, push for Trina. And even Francine pushed for Trina. So, you know, they basically both telling him, you know, this is an up and coming, you know, label. So you're going to be the guinea pig. You're going to be the guinea pig, the test project for them. You don't know anything about them. Whereas you have this solidified artist in the industry that's been in the game for years. that can help you. You know, she's getting you bookings. She's doing, doing all kind of stuff for you. So why would you go with this up and coming label that you don't know nothing about, where you have this solidified, bona fide, hip hop figure that's been, like I said, been in the game for years. So, that's giving Bobby something to think about. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to think about this. And I don't want you guys to tell Trina, because remember what happened last season when he did the interview with Super Cindy messy ass. And then, Super Cindy went back to Trina and told Trina that Bobby had the interview. So, basically at this point, mum's the word. All right. So then we had Amara, JoJo, and her mama. So they went out for lunch. And, Amara's talking about how she felt guilt, not being in Miami when her mama burnt herself. And, she's talking about how her mama needs to find a friend and whatnot. And JoJo's like, yeah, she needs to date. And, Amara's like, no, she don't need to date. I don't want nobody touching her. I don't want nobody doing this to her. I'm like, girl, your mama is grown. Your mama had to have somebody, your mama had to daddy touch her in order to create you. So, yeah. So, there's a guy behind them, and they start talking to him. He speaks Spanish, but I'm like, that man looks a little bit too young for your mama. But, okay, if you say so. So, then Amara asks JoJo, how are things between you and Pleasure P at this point? So, JoJo's like, we're going slow right now. And then, Amara is like, well, I had a conversation with Francine, and, she feels like you broke girl code. And JoJo's like, I don't feel like I owe that bitch nothing. And I'm like, okay. But if y'all was supposed to be cool with each other, yeah, you kind of do owe her something. Y'all might not have been the best of friends, but y'all were friends enough to hang out with one another, kiki with one another. Like, you do owe her at least that. To be like, hey, bitch, Pleasure P trying to holler at me or whatever. I don't know how I really feel about the nigga, but actually don't say nigga, but just be like, what? I don't know how I feel about homie. Like, I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna have some conversations with him, and I just want to be woman enough to tell you, yo, I might be interested in your ex. I don't want you to feel no type of way. We still cool, but whatever. But basically, that ain't what happened, because JoJo stopped talking to Francine. So fuck, I'm on Francine's side. That is sad to say, but I'm on her side. So Amara is telling JoJo about the empanada thing that her mama's doing and how she wants them to sit down and have a conversation with each other. So I guess JoJo's here for it, just like Francine is here for it. All right, y'all. So then we got SFFBJ, Shay, Francine, Frensky, Bucky, Johnson. Hey, that's kind of good. SFFBJ. But yeah. So she's sitting down with Winnie the Pooh. He's telling her about everything that's going on with Pretty Ricky. How, mainly the issue is Pleasure P. How when they was out there doing the concert, Pleasure P got into it with one of his friends. And she's like, oh, that nigga think he a gangster. Or, he think he tough. He think he hard. Nah, nigga, you ain't tough. And, he then tells her that, they sat down with one another, but he still feel like the group is, got some dysfunction between them, and mostly because of his brother, Spectacular, and how, Spectacular probably feels like they daddy don't love him. And she's like, so is Spec as close to your dad as you are? He says, nah, ain't nobody as close to my dad as me. And she said, well, don't you think maybe he feels some type of way about that? And, he was like, his dad is a street nigga. He ain't the type that's gonna come to you. His dad grew up without a dad, so he's not gonna come to you and show you love or nothing. You gotta come to him. And she was like, well, maybe you should, put that together or something like that. So then, okay, yeah. So then they start talking about Pretty Ricky. And, Pleasure P. And, basically how, when it comes down to Pretty Ricky, Pleasure P not going to really reach out to them dudes unless there's money involved. Which I think that's fucked up. Like, there's sometimes you're going to reach out to them niggas when you think it's some money involved. Like, god damn, that's fucked up. So then she tells him about how JoJo and Pleasure P supposed to be dating one another. And, he asked her why she mad. I was trying to figure that out myself. Why are you mad? Like, I get it. If you and JoJo were building a relationship with one another, and she stopped talking to you, and then she started dating Pleasure P, I can get how that can look shady and suspect. But what you so worked up about? Like, do you want the dude? Like, it makes no sense to me. So then she tells him how Amara's having this, party, and she wants him to come with her because, basically he can calm her down when she needs to be calmed down. I'm like, really? Okay. If you say so. All right. So then we have this Empanada food truck that her mom has for Amada has for her mother. So we see her. JoJo shows up with Pleasure P, and once they get there, Amara asks them, what's the relationship between them going? What's their relationship like right now? Pleasure P says they are going slow. When Pleasure P is talking to Amada, up walks Shay, Francine, Bucky Johnson with Winnie the Pooh. So, she sits down with them, and, immediately she, starts going into them. I'm like, oh God, like not even 5 seconds and we already got the bullshit going. Cause basically she says how she feels JoJo pulled the whole move. So, Amada comes over and she tells, Pleasure P, can you go to the side and just leave us girls right here to talk? So then they start talking to one another. And, again, she feels like JoJo pulled a whole move. And JoJo does admit that that is her man. And she's like, okay, bitch. And then they start screaming and going back and forth with one another. Now, here's my thing when it comes to JoJo. JoJo is straight up scared of pretty much all the women on the cast. Like, let's be real. Because last season, even though I don't like Helga Pataki, all she did last season to Helga was, take that drink and throw it in Helga's face. Jessie Woo, she took the drink, threw it in her face. Shay, Francine, Bucky Johnson, she threw something at her. JoJo don't do nothing into security. The crazy 88s, as Roxanne calls them, shout out to for his rocks, Roxanne. She don't do nothing to the security come in. I'm like, JoJo, like, why you wait till security come in to try to jump at these women? Like, that makes you look like a scary pussy, to be honest with you. The only person this season and last season, between last season and this season, the only person that you got bucked with was Prince. I'm just gonna keep saying that. That is the only person you got bucked with. Prince. You ain't done nothing to Veronica, Shay, Jessie, nor Tip. But you can jump in Prince's face and get bucked with him. A whole man, but not a whole woman. Yep, JoJo, you ain't shit, bitch. So then we see Pleasure P. Once security has broke everything up, he goes and has a conversation with Shay, of all people. And I'm like, but ain't that your woman over there? That security just moved over there? That's your woman. Your woman. That ain't your woman right here that you standing in front of. So, then we see, Shay asked him, is he dating JoJo? And basically, he was just backpedaling and, doing all that kind of shit. And I'm like, nigga, just straight up say, yeah, that's my girl. Like, do you want her? So then we see Winnie the Pooh. He talking to JoJo. And I forgot what he was saying to JoJo. But then Amara comes up. And Amara says what I just said. Like, so that's your dude. And here you are right here. But there he is over there with his ex. And then he asked, Francine if she still loves him. And I'm like, why does that matter if she still loves you? Like, if that's your woman over here, you shouldn't care what this woman still think about you. Like, fuck out of here. And I was with Amara on 100% what she said to JoJo. If you're going to choose to stay with that nigga, like, you don't need to tell me nothing about him. Like, just keep it distant. Keep it on mute. Like, don't tell me shit about him. But you guys, that was Love and Hip Hop Miami. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I shall see you guys later on for Black Ink Crew Chicago.